Well, hello there, and welcome to the living room of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and you Stelfers for January 21st, the day of the front runner. And here at the top of the page is a visual representational image of the day of the front runner. Well, we have us an image of, oh, what could it be? Boom! It's a jack hare jumping over some freshly reaped wheat, I would say, or trampled anyhow. Or maybe he's bounding. I don't know. You know, what visual representation aside, is that an example of the day of the front runner? Who's to say? Maybe we'll make some connotations for why they chose as much as we get on with the read. But that being said, not altogether all too important. I'd just like you to see kind of what's in front of me on the page here. What is important, though, is it's January 21st and ostensibly somebody's birthday. That's right. So if it's your birthday, it's January 21st, I just want to say happy birthday. But if this video finds you late, I don't know, days, weeks, months, whatever the case may happen to be, I just want to extend you a heartfelt hope you had a happy birthday, if that's the case. That having been said, a lot of times folks join us randomly to find out about the birthday, or more ideally, to celebrate. And if that's the case, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before I dive in with the redirect, something I like to do around these here parts, and that's roll some dice. This is the DykASSt birthday broadcast, so I like to live up to the namesake by rolling some dice. But I do so more importantly for synchronicity's sake. And here I rolled a 6 and a 2, 4 and 8. Now, what is synchronicity? You're probably wondering. Real quickly here. A lot of times we get out in the world and we're very narrow or laser, singular or focused, if you like. We kind of usually have the blinders on to the things that are going on around us. I mean, we might see things, but we're not really giving them a lot of concern as we get on with our errands or say the commute to work. But as I've heard it told, the universe will put things in our path to help us manifest or actualize our dreams and aspirations. But if we got the blinders on, hey, we might not be open to seeing as much, all right? And so this is a little bit of a, what you call an exercise in taking those blinders off and seeing what the universe is putting in our path. And with the sign that we can't help but notice. At least hopefully. That's right. Your daily numbers. Now, you don't have to go with the dice numbers that I rolled for you, but it's probably ideal you take your own set of dice so you can ascribe time limits to directions you may go in if you're out here to chase some synchronicities down, and, I don't know, directional values for number sets. But once you've got all that established, I don't know, pick a place that you want to, I don't know, kind of explore from. Try to drum up some synchronicities. Place that's dear to your heart, perhaps a place you haven't been before. That's having been said, once you've picked that spot, say the town square, as I often like to use, make sure you get those blinders off and start soaking up everything around you like a sponge. Hey, you never know, the day might start to take on a little bit of a theme. To say a lot of something similar might keep creeping up into your day. Let's take the visual representational image, for example. You might start to see rabbits cross your path, or perhaps freshly reaped wheat. I don't know. Just an example. But it might not even be actual rabbits. It might be signposts with, like, say, a rabbit sticker on there, or perhaps an advertisement with a bunny being used, you know, like the Cadbury eggs say, you know, a lion with bunny ears. You never can tell. I think you get the idea. But that would be just a sign that you're on the right path, I would say. That's right. The universe is looking out for you. But let's say you're going off on your first leg of this journey here, and I don't know, maybe you reached the end of your first time limit and you haven't seen anything. Well, just take a moment to stop, compose yourself, look around, stay eagle-eyed. Maybe you just so happen to notice the street you're on is, I don't know, old 8th Avenue, perhaps. You know what? Again, a sign you're on the right path. Roll yourself another value there. Head on out. Maybe by the time you reach the end of that time limit, the old number 8 bus pulls up in front of you. Oh, I know you probably don't like to ride the bus all that often, but hey, you know what? Maybe you just so happen to have perfect change in your pocket for the fare. You know, in a day and age when folks don't tend to carry coins around, I would say that's yet another sign you're on the right path. So jump on the bus, all right? Roll yourself a time value to see how long to stay on there. Maybe right as you're about to do as much, I don't know, maybe you spy somebody wearing a sports jersey and it just so happens to have 62 on there. I would take that either as a sign to that you're on the right path, and or that's somebody that you should follow, or wait at least to get off to depart the bus until they do. Might just be the universe is lining you up for such things. Once you get off there, then roll yourself another time value. Maybe at the end of this one, you just so happen to find yourself in front of a building I don't know, with a 62 in the address. Again, all right, just go with this kind of stuff. Maybe go into that building, see what you see. Maybe it just so happens to be like a, I don't know, like a Winco or whatever. Or no, it was a Wilco rather. Those places that have farm animals and such. Maybe they've got some bunnies on special, little rabbits there on clearance if you like. I know you're not in the market for a rabbit, but again, themes might start to present. That having been said, maybe you're just checking it out. Somebody saddles up to you. You bend down to roll your dice, and they go, "What are you doing? You shooting craps at the Wilco there?" You're like, no. Be upfront and clear about everything that's going on with you. Because you know what? A lot of the times when you bring people into such things, they're apt to want to get in on the magic too. And you show them this video perhaps to show them you're not crazy when you're trying to explain all this. And it might just so happen that it's their birthday too. Hey, you know what? Coincidence, right? You know what? Let's stack them up. Stack up those coincidences. Because if there's anything I can wish you on your birthday, it's that you're getting out there and seeing and tasting and touching and maybe intuiting a little bit of magic. And you know what? Maybe that person's apt to join you on the journey. You don't have to buy a rabbit. I'm just saying. Stack things up, see what happens. So I think you get the idea. Get out there, let the universe show you it's with you on your path. All right, let's dive in with the birthday read. Your month is January, your day the 21st. Your sign is 0 to 2 degrees Aquarius of the Capricorn Aquarius cusp, and your quality and element is fixed air. All right, January 21st, the day of the Frontrunner. Those born on January 21 are headed for the top, and when they reach it, they usually know how to stay there. Until those born on this day realize just how ambitious they truly are, they may suffer a great deal of unexplained frustration. January 21 people are tough individuals with lots of drive, but also have an easier, pleasure-loving side which can come to dominate their time and energy if they lose direction. The most successful people born on this day are able to integrate these two sides of their personality. However, many January 21 people swing like a pendulum from a more relaxed to an intense state and back again, seemingly unable to effect a synthesis of the two. Sooner or later, a desire to lead the pack emerges in January 21 people. And if they do succeed in reaching the top of their chosen field, relinquishing such a position may indeed be difficult for them. Competing interests, poor health, advancing age, even unhappiness with the work itself may not dislodge them. And if they are brought down from their perch, it is most often due to their pleasure-loving side, which can dull their competitive edge. And most January 21 people are not cut out to be leaders in the long haul, having neither the ruthlessness nor innate authoritative sense generally required. Careers where they may strive to be the best through improvement of their talents and skills are thus preferable to careers within a highly politicized or hierarchical structure. January 21 people have a large measure of star quality that attracts others to them. They are often not only trendsetters at work, but also in their social circle. And they have a knack when it comes to handling people, and are highly persuasive when offering their views or making suggestions. And those born on this day who occupy a high place in society usually have the common touch, and therefore mix well with people from all walks of life. Their exciting, colorful, active, and passionate natures make for an undeniable active sexuality. Heartbreakers of a kind, they can often hurt others by being too caring, and when it would be better just to say goodbye. Most often, however, friends and lovers are happy to have known them, even for a short period, as January 21 people enrich the lives of those they spend time with. And for all of their public pizzazz, January 21 people are somewhat retiring, rarely liking to mix their public in private lives, and they normally have a home or a hidden retreat where entrance is granted to but a privileged few. And perhaps their greatest problem lies in making up their minds what it is they really want from life. Until they do so, they will, like fireflies, disappear and reappear from one spot to the next. Well, all right, how about that for a birthday breakdown? It was a little bit narrow of focus. I'd say this is kind of a trend that's been set with the Capricorn period in particular. You're still falling into the Capricorn Aquarius cusp, so lion's share of the things we're going to examine today, they kind of take from that, because I don't quite know what to say about the Aquarius period yet. You're falling in on the first day of that particular sign. So some things might apply to it, but I just haven't been able to drum up any particular common denominators as such. But hey, let's dive in with a little bit of a commentary I like to provide as I relate some things I find of interest and or things that relate to days previous, to say the Capricorn period, if you like. So let's get into it here. January 21. I wrote July for some reason. The day of the front runner. You're usually headed for the top and capable of maintaining your position there. All right. You may suffer a great deal of frustration until you realize your ambitious nature, which makes me wonder what particular life event might cause you to cotton to such a realization. Is it something simple, complex, or are you just waking up in a different state altogether on some morning? Either way, I'm sure it's an interesting story, all right, what makes you realize that sudden ambition. That said, you're purported to be tough and individuals who also are in possession of a pleasure-loving side that can be distracting if you let it, which has come up with one or two other Capricorn birthdays, but traditionally it's not something that runs through a Capricorn through line. So what's different here is you vacillate between relaxed and also intense states, as they said in the reading. So synthesis is key, all right? And I'm glad that this gets mentioned, as I think it can be applied to just about everyone. But here they specifically mention it for you, so maybe take note. Let's see here. The reading then segues into the desire to lead and rise to the top of your chosen field, which again is a very common Capricorn trait. And interestingly, it's not common with Capricorns that speak to a, maybe this speaks to your Aquarian side here, but your pleasure-loving side being such a draw that it might stand as something that gets in the way of your career advance, or perhaps maintaining your position at the top if you happen to get there. What do I say here? It's not the most desirable dynamic in the scheme of things, I would say, but it's something that I find a bit refreshing, as it distinctly sets you apart from others born in this period. Furthermore, you may not also be cut out for as much in the long term, they said. But I would say focusing on a lack of ruthlessness and authoritarian penchants is the wrong perspective to measure from, all right? And that's kind of where they're going from. Though it makes sense in a hierarchical kind of sense or a corporate setting, you got to be ruthless and the like. But I don't think there's a lot of value there in human terms, all right? So I kind of like where this is going in this particular respect. Even though it kind of sounds like a weakness to say you don't have the ruthlessness. All right, that's just fine, I would say. Let's see, we got off track here. And if star quality is said to be where you excel socially and professionally, perhaps coming to this ambitious realization of what your true passion is, if you like, and realizing your ambition, maybe that's a good thing. I would argue it is. So you're also highly sexually attractive, they said. You're also exciting and passionate, but also reserved individuals. And today rounds out yet another specifically unique and interesting breakdown in that regard, even if rather narrow. And I say that because the Capricorns have just bled through with this very opposite kind of approach to, say, the career. They're always driving for the top because they're very focused on it. And you have that capability, but also you're not the the ruthless type, as they said, whereas that doesn't come up with the Capricorns all that often. Now, there were one or two who kind of had some similar traits, but not altogether all that similar. Just, I say similar because it was such a stark contrast to the typical Capricorn generalities. That having been said, that's been your birthday breakdown. Again, highly unique, somewhat narrow focus, but again, that's kind of following a trend. But maybe we can make some more connections as we get on and move on over to your numbers and your planets. All right, here, those born on the 21st of the month are ruled by the number 3, as 2 + 1 = 3, and by the expansive planet Jupiter. And those ruled by the number 3 are often ambitious, sometimes dictatorial, although the former and not the latter trait holds true for January 21 people. The number 21 has marked associations with physical beauty, particularly for women. But this can be true of January 21 men as well. Jupiterian influences lend an expansive attitude toward the world, and the added power and vitality of Uranus, which is Aquarius's ruler, lends practical ability and the vision necessary to get big projects on the rails. Interesting. This was a little bit of a copy-paste job here as far as the entry was concerned, but they did personalize it for you in a lot of ways. To the extent they threw in some context for you. A lot of times they don't do that, interestingly enough. But hey, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's dive back into the notes here for your numbers and planets. All right, the number 3 in the expansive planet Jupiter for an optimistic, jovial approach to life and with aspects of power and vitality in the mix, and also imparted by the erratic and explosive planet Uranus. Let's see here, and it's also, is this the Cusp still? It also has a co-rulership with the planet Saturn, which wasn't mentioned there. Uranus is known to shake up things, shake up the dynamics of the other planets it's associated with. But with Saturn's constrictive energy in the mix, I would say perhaps it helps to kind of lessen that erratic energy here. Maybe lend a little bit more, even keel, if you like. But interestingly, Jupiter and Saturn are a classic conflictive dynamic there. Jupiter's expansive and jovial. Saturn's more conservative and constrictive. And so a lot of the days where there was that, especially the, what was it? It was before Capricorn, the Sagittarius Capricorn cusp. These individuals, it was just always frustrated and a lot of conflict in their lives, ostensibly because of that conflicting juxtaposition. It just ran rife through that particular period and even before it a bit. That being said, so if you come up with some conflicts and frustrations in your life, hey, it might be that little dynamic going on if you want to lend credence to astrology there. A lot of folks don't, but hey, maybe they're experiencing the conflict and frustration and they don't know where to really come from because they're not lending it any credence. Who's to say? I don't know. That being said here, what else do we have? So perhaps this is where that dynamic of having to discover your ambition and your chosen life aspirations comes from. Yeah, you're being held back a little bit with the dynamic there. At least that might lend to the difficulties you may experience therein. All told, I would say lean in on your Uranus Aquarius side because it lends you the practical and visionary powers that sounds perfectly I don't know, they sound to be a perfect synthesis of the things that they mentioned you should do. It said that you're going to be able to get the projects on the rails, right? And if you got that Capricorn drive and energy, hey, you're going to get the job done. Even if at some point you decide you need to abandon the job to move on to better things that are more in line with your talents or that star power they mentioned. So anyway, yeah, I lean in on both of them, but I would probably try to lean away from the Capricorn thing. I don't know, maybe just because I'm ready to get into Aquarius and see what it's all about. So that having been said, that's been your numbers and your planets. So let's move on to your tarot. That's right, one of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies, but it's here in the book. We don't have to take it home with us to start predicting our future and the like, or however those are used. But hey, once we do, we can make some more connections here potentially with the breakdown, and we just leave it in the book and move on. So let's dive in here. Well, the 21st card of the major arcana is the World, which depicts a goddess running with energy-giving rods in her hands. And she surmounts the world and displays the truth, and she has unlimited power. And the card symbolizes all that is attainable on the earthly plane, although reward and integrity are assured. Traditionally, the card can also indicate monumental obstacles and setbacks of fortune, as well as negative traits of distraction and self-pity. All right. Total copy-paste job here from if memory serves, but a lot of times that holds true with the tarot, especially if they personalize the numbers and planets. That said, let's dive in with the notes, all right? The World card, a once-a-month card, only for the number 21 there. It's the goddess with her life-giving rod, surmounting the world and displaying the truth for reward and integrity, but also obstacles and setbacks, all right? Let's see, and a mention of distraction there. What else we got? Notable mention of distraction. That's the word I was getting hung up on. For a card that almost seems to inform the breakdown, interestingly. I particularly like the aspect of reaching for the top to only realize that the truth of your ambition, and then perhaps be dethroned, ostensibly because of your distractions there. The things you like to do that you just decide, you know what, I'd rather do those than go to work, I'm assuming. That came up once before, I believe, in some other Capricorn day. So again, a very apt card, I would argue, if assuming the breakdown applies, right? And you don't even have to work too hard to make these connections. Sometimes I have to kind of think about, like, how might this apply? Because on its face, the card doesn't seem to apply to the breakdown at all. But if you just kind of think of it in different terms, boom, it's like a whole thing opens up. You're like, oh, I can see why this would relate, and it adds more meaning to it. Here, I didn't have to necessarily do the homework with as much. It kind of spoke to it right on its face. So again, what else we have here? You don't even have to work too hard to make these connections, kind of like I said, which is often, in no small part, has been the case with the Capricorn period. So again, pretty apt card, I think is what I'm trying to say with all this. So that's been your tarot. Relatively painless outside of my disjointedness there. So let's move on to your health. All right, your health. Those born on January 21 are generally open to suggestions for improving their health. In particular, sensuous activities such as massage are attractive to them. Their physical side takes quite naturally to exercise as long as not too much discomfort is involved. Also in the area of food, January 21 people are open to suggestions about eating in a more healthy fashion. Sexual expression on a regular basis and being admired for their physical attributes are both very important to January 21 people. Health may be an area in which an important connection between their ambition and their love of repose and sensuality can be affected. Partners should be sought who are able to share their lifestyle as much as possible. And reinforcement from a loving mate keeps January 21 people on track. All right, I liked this one. Once again, we're stirring things up. This was very contrary to a lot of the previous Capricorn health entries. Again, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, so let's get back to the notes here. You're generally open to suggestions for improving your health, and you may be interested to hear that this is a chief difference with Capricorn period, all right? Those folks are so drilled down on their career or the cause that they dedicate themselves to that they disavow themselves from their health concerns. So it's something that the reading really endorses that they focus on. And a lot of them, they just find out too late about it, that they should have been tending to themselves earlier on. So right here, you're already bucking a trend in that regard. You're also famous, I said that, they're famous for commitment to cause and disregarding their health. They just can't be bothered, all right? This quality extends to the diet as well, apparently, okay? The likes of which concern for removal of cholesterol in service of the veins. That's something that comes up for the Capricorn. and also expanding their culinary concerns. A lot of times they don't even really drill down on the diet. They say it expand the culinary. But when they do drill down on it, they talk about cutting out animal fat and dairy fat, ostensibly so as to remove cholesterol from the diet. The veins are a Capricorn body area, and as it turns out, the circulatory system is also a body area for Aquarius. So I would say, in no small part, you might want to focus on that too. Taking care of your veins and your arteries by not incorporating too much cholesterol. What else do we have here? The skeleton is also a body area for Capricorns, and you still fall on the cusp, so maybe be mindful of taking your calcium there. And as for your joints, your chondroitin and glucosamine. All right. And I know they didn't mention any of that, but they only have so much space. What else did they mention here? Sexual expression and admiration for your physical attributes is also said to be important. Now, sexual expression does come up for the Capricorns here and there, but this love or a desire for admiration for your physical qualities, that's new. I don't think that's come up ever. So that might be a largely Aquarius type thing. So what else do we have here? Supportive, similarly lifestyled partner as well. Interestingly, and I would think that would seem to apply kind of universally. You want somebody who shares the same qualities, traits, and interests that you do, but not always the case. Not too long ago, just a day or two ago, somebody was very childlike of nature, and so they recommended juxtaposing that with somebody who was, you know, a little more mature, a little bit more down to earth, so that they could buttress each other. One could influence the other with their childlike wonder, and the other could influence the other with the more mature aspects of things. Here you got somebody who's similarly faceted, you know, so you can share the same things, I would suppose. So interesting there, you bucked that trend also. Or at least, I don't know about trend, but different there. So in any event, that's been your health. Let's move on to some advice. All right, your advice here. Expect the very best of yourself and beware of a tendency to drift. Keep moving with a purpose, all right? And don't hold on too long or relinquish your freedom. All right. Hey, I would say this is a very apt set of advice for you here. A lot of value, if you like, here. Though pretty sparse, though. Let's dive into it here. What I have to say. Expect the very best from yourself is what they wrote. I like this. Don't let yourself... what do I say? Do not let moving down your path dissuade you. Oh, don't let not moving down your chosen path dissuade you. Maybe you haven't figured it out just yet. Hey, keep moving along, keep going. It sounds like it's eventually going to happen for you if the breakdown applies. What else do we have here? Beware of drifting. Hey, it's hard to do that. Keep driving forward. Rally your Capricorn discipline and self-assuredness to get things done. And you know what? It's going to happen for you. But I think the drifting thing also, you're getting distracted there. So be careful about that, you know, or know when you can do as much without damage to, say, your career or your personal life there. So find the balance, if you like, and be objective. Objectivity is another thing for the Capricorn things. Drill down on that. Don't hold on too long, they said, or relinquish your freedom. All right, Capricorns, they dedicate themselves to causes in a very negative way, I would say. And they also will not give up on losing prospects, more importantly. So don't let that quality carry over and or get in the way of realizing your truer purpose, all right? Get on with your own self-concerns, I would say. Or have it out in the, out in your plans to say, like you're driving towards that. I just have to go through these other things to get to it. The Capricorns didn't really have goals or aspirations like that of a personal nature. They always dedicated to a cause or an organization. That having been said, that's your advice, all right? So let's take the energy down just a hair and move on to your meditation. That's right, it's your birthday, you get a meditation. All right, your meditation. The capacity to be centered where you are at the moment and yet prepared to move on if necessary can be acquired with practice. Interesting. And a rather lengthy meditation, all things considered. All right, let's dive into it once more. This was a bit of a mouthful. The capacity to be centered where you are at the moment, and yet prepared to move on if necessary, can be acquired with practice. All right, I think this was very apt for you. All right, now that I read it the second time, I didn't know what to think at first on the first time. But that having been said, I'm not going to let you know my interpretation of as much. It's your birthday, your meditation. It wouldn't serve you if I was throwing some spin on it. So I'll just leave that for you. But your meditation in the can, as it were. Let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. Let's hold up the objective mirror and see where we got the girth or the bulk, if you like, and where we're otherwise a little more atrophied. That's right, your strengths and weaknesses. Your strengths, you're attractive, you're colorful, and you're open. That's right. But your weaknesses, let's hold up that objective mirror, but flip it to the side that blows up your face. Shows off the things you might be otherwise a little superficially insecure about, if you like, in one manner of speaking. That's right, your weaknesses. You're indecisive, pleasure-bound. That's a first, I believe. And you're hurtful. Interesting. I don't think I picked up on hurtful. I wonder where they got that. I must have breezed over it. A lot of times I like to say, if your weaknesses are someplace you want to improve, I think your strengths are going to help you get through it and improve yourself in those areas. You're attractive, colorful, and open. Hey, you're open to solutions, I would say. Colorful, you're going to find an interesting way to go about finding the solution, I would argue. I don't know how being attractive gets you there, but hey, you know what? Doors open to attractive people a lot of times that would otherwise remain closed. All right, so that having been said, your weaknesses, you're indecisive, pleasure-bound, and hurtful. I often like to argue that our weaknesses can be strengths just depending upon the situation, also depending upon the individual. I've seen weaknesses and strengths trade back and forth before, just even the next day. Impulsive came up as a strength one day and traded back down to a weakness the next. I have a hard time with these particular ones arguing them as a strength. Pleasure-bound, indecisive, and hurtful. I don't know. So I suppose in some certain cases, maybe it's good to be indecisive. Like if you're on the fence with one thing, hey, maybe something that wouldn't have been a good decision is going to go away because you wouldn't jump onto it quick enough. And you know what? Maybe because you wanted to take the time to think it through, it behooved of you to do as much. Because the other thing, it might have turned out to be a losing proposition, if you like. Pleasure bound, hey, it might be a positive insofar as you're like, you know what, I want to enjoy life, but it could get out of hand. That's right. Hurtful, I don't know. Maybe if you need to be hurtful in like a fight, say, I don't know. I don't think that's what they mean, but I think the argument still stands. A lot of times our weaknesses can be strengths. We just have to figure out the situation to use it. We have to be mindful of as much. But that having been said, you know what? Weaknesses make us who we are as well. So if you are apt to improve upon them, I would argue don't get rid of them altogether. All right. But your strengths and weaknesses having been related, let's move on to those born on this day. When we get into those born on this day, not only do I like to see who shares your company, but I like to look at it through the prism of as an opportunity to examine figuring out our passions. And for you in particular, it sounded like something that was very important. And I bring this up every birthday, and some days it just means more to that particular breakdown than or that particular individual based on the breakdown than the other days. But here nor there, I still dive in on it because I think if there's anything I can wish for you on your birthday or any other day in general, it's that we're chasing after our passions. And all too often I get out in the world and meet individuals, ask them what they do, and more importantly, if they like it, and they don't. And, you know, I just think we get right out of school into a job to help make ends meet, and maybe we just start climbing that corporate ladder, right? And we just start getting used to the things we're doing. It becomes easy, but the fatal flaw is at the root of it. It wasn't something we ever liked doing, and so we get caught in a trap of it being easy, being I don't know, viable insofar as the finances it provides you. But again, hey, maybe we have no fulfillment in that particular job, just in the heart of hearts, right? So I think this is the perfect opportunity to see what other individuals did and maybe drum up some inspiration for as much. Because we should be doing backflips out of bed to get on with our day and finding fulfillment in the things that we do. And you know what? For you today, I think it was a focus. So in any event, let's look at it through that prism. Maybe putting the bug in your ear about as much help you stir up the fire. So let's get into it here. We have Jack Nicklaus, the golf champion, the all-time leader in tournament wins, and a PGA golfer of the century. We also have Placido Domingo, a Spanish opera concert tenor. Ethan Allen, the Revolutionary War soldier and the leader of the Green Mountain Boys. We also have Stonewall Jackson, Confederate general, Mexican War veteran, and he gained a reputation at Bull Run and killed by friendly fire at the age of 41. We also have John Charles Fremont, a U.S. general, explorer, mapped the Oregon Trail, and the first U.S. California senator. We have Gina Davis, the film actress, Richie Havens, the folk singer-songwriter and guitarist, Christian Dior, fashion designer, Cristobal Balenciaga, a Spanish fashion designer. We also have Igor Mostiev, a Russian choreographer and dance company founder. We also have Paul Scofield, a British stage and film actor, Telly Savalas, a film and TV actor of Kojak fame, Roger Baldwin, ACLU social activist, Mac Davis, a country western singer, Harry Schoaf, SHOAF, a NASA executive, Oscar II, Norwegian Swedish king. We also have Harriet Backer, Norwegian impressionist painter, Clive Donner, a British stage and TV film director of What's New Pussycat fame, and also a producer. We have Rudy Blesch, a jazz writer and record producer, and a broadcaster. We also have Moritz von Schwind, a German romantic painter, illustrator, woodcarver, and an etcher. All right. Boy, there's a lot of individuals there to take inspiration from. Artists. We had a couple generals in there, founders, executives, a lot of fashion designers. Very interesting smorgasbord of individuals, and quite a few of them that I happen to recognize, so I'm assuming you would as well. That having been said, I know it's a big ask, tall order to take inspiration from other people's accomplishments, but like I said, maybe me just putting the bug in your ear about it help you stir up the fires of inspiration. That's right. To get after your passions, figure them out, because it takes time, takes work, takes energy. And even if you have your passions figured out, maybe you don't know how to make them financially viable. Well, hey, I'm here to get you on the horse, get back to doing that. Stop being distracted, all right? Get after it. Because like I said, if there's anything I can wish for you on your birthday, it's that you're driving after your passions. And the book endorsed as much, so you can't beat that. That having been said, that essentially rounds out your birthday read, except to say your season is winter, your sign once again is Aquarius, the first day of Aquarius, and your, what do we got here? Your period specifically, though, is the Capricorn Aquarius cusp. So you got a little bit of those Capricorn qualities there for you. And your quality and elements is fixed air. Now, what does that mean? Well, that's a different video altogether. I'll leave it at the end if you're interested. But that having been said, this has been January 21st, the day of the Frontrunner, from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and you Stelfers. I have an affiliate link for this book down in the description if you're interested in diving in further, exploring things for yourself, breaking this thing out during some parties, reading birthdays for folks. You know what? It makes an excellent coffee table book, and it's going to get the party started for better or for worse if you break this thing out to get the party started. But it's going to get that ice broken regardless. That's right. A memorable party to be sure. And the link will just save the hassle having to type it in the browser and support the channel in the bargain, which I appreciate. But that having been said, the book having been related, not altogether all too important. Not when it's somebody's birthday. That's right. What's important around here, wishing you a happy birthday. So once again, happy birthday. And for everybody else who joined us randomly or more ideally to celebrate, I just want to say I hope you enjoyed yourselves and you join us for your birthday. That's right. That's right. But let's not forget, that's right, get out there and let the universe show you it's with you on your path, your daily numbers, all right? Your 6 and your 2 for an 8. Get out there and see, taste, touch, feel, smell, intuit, a little bit of magic. You'll understand why I brought it up. That's right. You should be enjoying your birthday, doing something fun for yourself there. Take someone with you, one of your like-minded partners there if you like, or meet someone if you're flying solo. That's right. But that having been said, one more thing I'd like to relate. I just want to say thank you for the pleasure of your time. It's been a privilege to share your birthday with you. That's right. So once again, happy birthday Take care of yourselves.